Loaded off screen. Doesn't count. Trial's over. Does this count? Trial's over. On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my far eastern friend. Ah. Oh. Despite being a Nipponese, you saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman, and at the same time saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so very different on the inside. You know, I took this case for one simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom. You did? When I encountered you for the first time, two months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. Oh, he has an excuse for being a racist. That makes it okay. Through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew and try to understand. You mentioned something similar earlier today about total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask, and one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. Yeah, I don't think he was... They mentioned it so many times, but yeah, I think it was just a running joke. He wasn't actually the third Skulkenroller. Alright, then I'll wait for that day if I must. Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey, and my retirement from service five years ago. It gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. A purpose that shatters like glass. So farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow, until we meet again. Yeah, the fact that Ace Attorney Chronicles is two separate games, I guess, because I was really like, okay, freaking Lord Chief Justice, whatever his name is, like, he's evil. He's clearly evil. He's behind everything. As soon as we met him, I was like, oh, okay, he's the final boss. Maybe he's the final boss of the second game? Like, it actually continues right where we left off? It's done. It's over at last. But where's Iris disappeared to? You're not Iris. Get out of here. Congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew that you were innocent. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruto. You believed in me right up to the end. You're as odd as your name. What's odd about it? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I? Alright, excellent. The final trial stats are in. Exclamation point 2000. Who won? Who guessed the correct number of everythings? No one ever has before, see? Kept a promise, I mean. Properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All my life growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. But that's just because I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone, and I paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know, though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently, too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. The real trust in others was the trust we had in ourselves all along. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so, don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in. But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright. Thanks. This is the way I see it, Ryunosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean, Kazuma. Am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? Pardon the interruption, says somebody. But what the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? Ah, that voice. It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. Ah ha ha, yes, it was me all along, I would have said when you finally noticed me. But you people, with your incessant babbling. Mr. Sholmes. Ah ha ha, yes, it was me all along. You see? And then he quickly took all of his clothes off and put different clothes on. I assumed you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh. I happened to be aware of 1 or 2 foibles of the doctor who is tending to me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. How very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts are justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat to you. Oh, thank you. Some great detective you are, great at being cold as ice, maybe. Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade? Well, you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed. Some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I have indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but, well, have a feel. Don't touch me. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? And, in some way, I suppose congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but an acquittal in a trial with that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes, not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the raper, you mean? Because anyone who's found not guilty in a trial he's working on winds up dead anyway. Is that it? The very point I was trying to make. As exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilded, in fact. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. We also never found out what the Man, we're gonna have a long... they're gonna have to explain the whole Baskervilles thing, aren't they? I guess we'll keep going, though. Yeah, well, it don't bother me. Oh, really? Oh, that was him. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like him upstairs. Him upstairs? You mean like God? Yeah, him upstairs knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There's some codes like that bog trotter what'll rot onto the core. At the end of the day, them upstairs make sure they get what they deserve. Suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming lives is another. Well, I ain't like them guilds of this world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see? Trait in you which is to be admired, Mr. Lestrade. Oi, give it a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Well, there you are, Hurley. How long have you been here? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet with you there. Ah, Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But wait until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room dressed as a bailiff. But these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon? I'm sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day. I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight, but you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look like I'm gonna be going nowhere for a while. You heard the judge's patter. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offences. What was it again? Breaking and entering, taking the bog strut stuff what was in the log, blah blah blah. Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offence. But diving ain't an offence, it's a job, ain't it? I don't think so. Still, it has got me thinking all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Otto? Well, no. But I was never a pickpocket. Anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I'm gonna do something for all them lot like me from the slums. Something that makes a difference for them. That's a wonderful idea, Jenny, and I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Nothing. Miss Gina Lestrade. The prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once. Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yes. Goodbye, Gina. And good luck. Otto? Yes? Ugh! What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say. Grenade fired in lieu of conversation. Okay. And why didn't she use it to escape just now? I guess she's trying to be a good person, aside from the fact that she just shot me with a grenade. Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade. Eh? On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh. Oh, yes. It's good advice, Ginny. Right, I see. Well. Thanks, Otto. Thank you for everything what you done, for believing in me. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. And then in the next 3 minutes, I finally told, what's her name, that her father had been killed. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Immediately after Fate had closed the ledger, she loads the I'm glad that we got one. We got one more reload. Well. Quite the indomitable pick purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial is all over the front page. Pickpocket's innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful? You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled. Oh no, how silly of me. But anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news? Not again. Well, what do you say, Runo Hurley? As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news. Oh, I forget. I guess it was just a prediction that because it was Gina that was on trial that she would load the grenade launcher 17 times. And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It was a record level of rainfall, apparently. Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news? Window tax has gone up 50%. No. The huge storm has left the seas very Was it a storm that covered the entire hemisphere? What do you mean it left the seas choppy? She was traveling by ocean. Oh, okay. She had to go down the English Channel, sure. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day or more. Wait, Dover? That's in England. That's right, if we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off. But... there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Schultz? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. The great detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of the rail transport director's foibles. What? I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria. Port of Dover. Larboard side. That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated. Susie's boat must be about to leave now. Miss Susato, where are you? Oh, over there. It looks like she's reading something.
Hold it!
Miss Susato, wait, what are you doing? Freaking throw your book in the water? Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here? We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see. Everyone else is already on the boat, I guess. They're impatient. Is it, though? Is it a suitable station to get to Dover? Or are we being sarcastic? No, maybe it is. Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. The book you were about to throw into the sea, it was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it? Oh dear. I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So, I was saying my final farewell. You were saying goodbye to law? You, Susato-san? It could have been obviously implausible. Maybe everybody in the world knows everything about the England train system except me. Would I be correct in assuming that it's because of the peephole, Miss Susato? I deliberately altered the scene of a crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Runo's armband. Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me. Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice for ages. On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flapple-mat, so I put it up my sleeve. Really? And then I rather forgot about it. I rather forgot that there was a 50-pound gigantic gun in the sleeve of my kimono. I rather forgot that there were 4 chainsaws attached to my arm. Until I found myself in Mr. Windibank's shop with it later that night. I see. And then... bang! Pchoom! Ah! Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Sholmes. Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think. That door started to play on my mind. The storeroom door, you mean? Yes. If Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind that door. And at that moment, the device that I had up my sleeve sprang to life, destroying the entire left half of my body. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. So you used the cat flapper-mat to make the peephole in the door. As captured in a photographic print of the shop by one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. Indeed, it was of the first importance, that point. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon, though naturally without proof, it would have amounted to nothing. But when I looked through the hole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial 2 months earlier, the trial of Magnus McGilded. I thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windibank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing. You were worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime. That's right. But then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case. What do you mean? Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have to be a way to see beyond the door. Ah. For which, a peephole would be the very thing. Only the peephole that I had made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course, and the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference. But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it? So is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made the peephole to anyone, not even to the police. I know. And I knew at the time that what I was doing was wrong, a criminal offense even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the peephole could save him. That was my plan. She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began, idiot? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. Ah. You could have been disbarred if you had been seen. I haven't been barred in the first place, though. Keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer. A lawyer friend died, and I looted his armband. That does not mean that I have been barred. If you had been seen to have knowingly tampered with a crime scene, so Mr. Sato decided to shoulder the burden of the responsibility alone. For your sake, and Miss Lestrade's. Miss Susato. My best friend gave me this pen. The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I'd lost a little of my faith in the law. I've slain a lawyer in battle, making me a true lawyer. It's like that movie, Highlander. There can be only one. That's why there's only ever one defense lawyer in the world at a time. I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime, but the moment I allowed myself to think that is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied on the witness stand, using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Miss Susato, what you did saved Gina's life. Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you've saved me too, from my regrets. Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been her freedom has been assured. Whoa, that's some very strong language, given her other charges. Yeah, I guess she's saying, like, by keeping the peephole, the creation of the peephole secret? I don't know. Actually, no, what would his defense have... If the peephole hadn't been created, then... I guess the fact that the gun was he brought up the peephole because he needed a way to say, like, oh, I saw her do it, and then she put the gun through. Since she was the only one in the room, it wouldn't have made a difference there, but it did make a difference that where the gun went, I guess. Yes, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation that the music box disc contains secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. Oh, it wasn't? There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see, a telegraph operator, and she said that the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect. After all, we are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. Eh? Asogi? That's his friend's name! Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny. Wait! Iris, what did you just say? Oh, I just said Asogi. Does that word mean something to you? Mean something? Asogi was the name of my best friend. What? But how? How do you know that name, Iris? I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box. She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius. I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whenever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. Oh! It suddenly occurred to me, you see. There's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added Morse code to use it in their own languages. I don't believe it. Are you saying? That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the Iroha pangram, isn't it? And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code, the message says asogi? Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all the Japanese Morse code. Iris, would you let me see that? Miss Susato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes! Why not? I spent some time studying it, because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications. I will be using it for the next 100 years. Definitely not going to invent an internet. Then might I recommend, my dear madame, that you focus your efforts on the English version? Haha, Japan has no future on the international stage. Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please. Of course. We didn't get that far into it, did we? Grayson yelled for us to stop. But what can this possibly mean? Whatever is in that long sequence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes, it's made the color drain from Susato-san's face. There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code. So the British Empire had been using Japanese for its secret communications? What? I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names. The first is Kei Asogi. Kazuma Asogi. Why? Why was his name on that disc? The second is A. Shin. Shin? I don't recognize that name. The third is T. Gregson. Gudegu-son? Gregson. Ah, it would seem Tobias Gregson is the third man on the list. What's his name doing in a secret government communication as well? And the last name... Why, it's M. Strongheart. What's the matter, Miss Susato? It's just so strange, so unexpected. Oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense. And with that, I guess it is getting late. We'll finish this up on no. The last name is J. Wilson. Oh. What? Wilson? John H. Wilson? No, J. Wilson. Freaking idiot. There were no... Stop adding letters. It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then, after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4. And that's the end of the message. Or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought that those discs contained Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names. It would appear that this particular message is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan. So Daddy could be in Japan then, where Susie and Runo come from. Do we really not tell her? Oh, well... no, it's not very likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson, and there must be lots of J's among them. Jesus Christ, I'm a John G. My mother calls me Teddy. Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. But we can't tell Iris about that now for some reason. We just can't. This is so strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Windibank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside. Honk. Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon. Yes, it seems so. I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change onto a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. Man, old Simpsons, the first 12 seasons of the Simpsons, so damn good. You're really going then, Susie. We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato. Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best. Miss Susato, I had hoped to have you always at my side to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. I'm quite sure. I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris, I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. A promise? About your manuscript. Oh yes, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Planting as much sequel bait as possible. Well, we'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Do you remember the first time we met? Yes, of course. On the SS Burio, when I was dragged out from that wardrobe, still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susato takedown. You know very well I'm talking about after that. We met her before that, though. Right? We met her in Japan. Or did we only meet her dad? I forget. It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy. Miss Susato. And my instincts were right. I really want to believe, no, I'm sure that I'll be back soon. Farewell until then.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey.
Just chainsaw the side of the boat and make a cat door so the cat can go with her.
To traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective.
I can't hear you.
I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead.
Trials, he said trials and tribulations. It's the name of the third
Whatever
game.
happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around.
Gyakuten. That's also the name of the game.
After all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
Is it not? I totally don't remember what his voice was in the other cutscenes. Yeah, you can't end the game without him shouting objection. Come on. Oh, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes? I have some rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the Special Express train, apparently. Huh? It caused such a commotion on the line, all the other trains had to wait at stations. But really, we would never have made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your fault. Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow, according to Miss Susato, you love defending yourself in court. Huh? 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 It's all right. I'm perfectly happy to testify. He really didn't look like the sort of man who'd do something like something so outrageous. See? Mr. Sholmes. Yes? A word, if you don't mind? Why, certainly. Any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. I love Bruno's words, and I know just the one he'll use here. Then I really must say...
Objection!
I was literally going to say, you can't just do that with trains. By the way, could the whole country from here to Dover please be on standby? We have a train that doesn't want to stop, so, you know, if it doesn't want to stop, you know the rules. In the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street from all over Europe. Something was afoot. Though it transpired, I had ordered them all myself, so I advertised them to sale, with used by Mr. Sholmes to solve an important case, and the money I've earned. Consulting detective work pays a pittance by comparison. You gotta read fast when they always have credits that autoplay dialogue, and it's really fast. I haven't slept a wink. This manuscript is due tomorrow now. When I'm this busy, Hurley usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an overstatement for some dry toast and insipid coffee. I do miss Susie and her lovely Japanese breakfasts. Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions. Exactly. Rarely do rare Koban coins hide under rare stakes themselves. Well, Ido Nosa knows his... Witnesses, my courtroom is no place for your petty arguments. I stumbled over the name. Having delivered the Russian dancer to shore in Shanghai, I laid low on the steamship for a while. But last night, I apprehended an extremely suspicious Japanese national on board. I've done nothing wrong! All I did was give Wagahai's offspring refuge in my pocket. A man brings some kittens on board and suddenly he's a hardened criminal. It's not fair! He prepares breakfast? No, let's go with inflicts. I'm always so the new version of OBS that I had to update to in a moment. Scientific evidence will be the gold standard for policing in the new age. I dream of a world governed by tenets of order and discipline, like a great clock, in fact, whose hundreds of parts mesh together in perfect unison. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have but 2 minutes and 37 seconds until my next appointment. I'm used to glancing over, and along the bottom, there's a green square that turns yellow or red if my connection is worse or if it drops. But now there's also a red... No. The latest Renst magazine is out, and I'm in it again. Whenever I say that one line she wrote now, I get a standing ovation. Want to hear it? Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur. Her ladyship puts me to shame. So now there's a thing, there's a record thing, like, oh, you're currently recording, but it's a red circle to mean record. So when I glance over, I see the red, and I'm like, no, it's fine. I've been visiting the old girl on a daily basis, of course. Joni, my old jailbird, must say, battling with those bally stairs every day, something. Managing rather well with the housework, too. Got this maid business taped up. Hope the gossiping neighbors don't realize the man of the house is his own maid. Isshin Sakurai. I don't actually have a button that says go live. My Rolly is back on the beat again, all thanks to the Reaper. Nothing I enjoy more these days than hunting out small change in the gutter. I'm a better Bobby now, looking out for Londoners, the dropped halfpennies, and my lovely wife. Hey, halfpenny? 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 Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Yeah, in OBS Studio, I don't have a button that says go live. I have one that says start streaming and start recording. I'm sure there's probably something. There's some way I could toggle something. Looks like I'm going to be doing time for a bit now. But Iris comes every day for a natter, so it ain't too boring. She's always going on about them cases what Sholmes is looking into. Criminal investigations are kind of interesting when you get into them. Yes, I renounced my upbringing and chose a life of sophisticated crime, but regrets? Please. Give over, bruv. That ain't the Ash we used to know. We got Toby there to plan to come back of Milverton and Skulk's milk run, right? The Three Muskewatsits milking the neighborhood for all it's worth. Hey, halfpenny. I am a criminal, but have you seen my jacket? Totally worth it. Crime does pay. It's a ghost! This past 6 months has been a time I shall remember forevermore. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that's what life is all about. Naruhodo-san, I promise. Your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories and a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well. Wait a minute, photographs weren't invented yet. Objection. The story of how they're able to use Herlock Sholmes of 221 B. Baker Street is still really funny. The fact that somebody else historically made a Herlock Sholmes story that was allowed under copyright, and that he lives at the same address, and that they can just say, oh yeah, if anybody says Herlock Sholmes, we're referencing that other series of stories. So yeah, I would put this as the best Phoenix Wright game that I've played. This was really, really good. Oh, so we never saw her come back. So yeah, they pretty much made this as a deliberate 2-part game. Like, that chronicles, they must have already known that they were planning to make a second one, and that they wanted this one to follow into that one. So maybe this will have an even better, like, there's still more to enjoy. But yeah, so what is it? I guess there seemed to be... They kind of cut out the whole investigation phase, usually. There's not a whole lot of investigating that you do compared to the number of trials. And when they did do investigations, it was they had you do the Holmes deductive thing, which was a way more fun gameplay element than just go around and, you know, pixel hunt and ask people questions. And yeah, I mean, you don't expect the first cases to be anything special, really. Well, because the second case doesn't even have court. I guess, yeah, I can't say, like, oh, there was hardly any investigation, because they didn't have a trial for the second one. It was all investigation. Really? Because I forget, I kind of forget how the story went. Why isn't it in the public domain already? Is it because it's not as old as I think it is? Did Arthur Conan Doyle only die sometime in the past, I don't know how many years? They are public domain in the UK. US copyright law is different. I mean, copyright law is very hard to follow. 10 stories are still protected. Okay. Interesting. There he is with his fish and chips. Yeah, all of the... I loved the characters. I loved the very, like, energetic animations. Because the other... Alright, let me back up for a sec. The first 3 games and Apollo Justice were sprite-based. And then it was Spirit of Justice. No. Dual Destinies that first went 3D. And maybe I'll have to go back and look at those. Like, were the animations not good? Or... There was more camera work in this. There were times that they put the people in the scene and the camera would move around. And I think that does make a difference. Whereas in the other games, it was always, there's the background, and then we'll have the character standing here, or 2 characters standing here. Here, they would place the characters in scenes sometimes, and that made it better. Let's see. Well, hopefully, Sir Doyle's family members do not come after me for streaming this game. Even though I said Sherlock Holmes 2 or 3 times by mistake. Have mercy. So that was Adventures, the first half of Chronicles. I might take a day off. I might not stream Thursday, because this was a whole lot of reading. The who? Oh. You're like, you tweeted out to every single one of his descendants. Like, hey, you guys would love this stream. So if I say continue... We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out next time. Also, I might, in between this game and the next Ace Attorney, I think I might grab, oh gosh, I don't even remember what they're called. The mystery lady. The one that Frump plays. I'm sitting here going, Nancy Drew. I think I'll try out one of the Nancy Drew games. Because Frump seems to enjoy them, and I've like lurked a little bit in a couple of her streams that are like them, and I think there will definitely be some like cheese factor, like some, you know, giggling at the game a little bit, and I think the one that I'm looking at is one of the older ones. It's from like 2009. And so there'll also be, yeah, I think it'll just be a fun break and a fun, like, playing something that's slightly different. I mean, it'll be a bit of a puzzle game, I guess. I don't know too much about them, so we'll try it out and see how I like it. So I think, yeah, no stream Thursday. I'm just gonna rest my voice. And then Saturday we'll play Nancy Drew. So thank you guys for being here, and I hope everybody enjoyed Great Ace Attorney. We will be playing the second half of it eventually. So I will see you then.